Why then, if they're so likeable, rely on prostitutes? Why not trawl the ranks of lady neo-Nazis or the register of paedophile mums? There's a deep reason and a shallow one. The deep reason I'll get to by and by, the shallow one you can have now. In short, because non-prostitutes require reciprocal desire. I'm not an ugly man, or werewolf either, judging by some of the pug-faced lollopers I've seen in Harley's sneaked woke-up files, but I'm a long way from taking any woman's attraction for granted. I can't hang around waiting for someone who fancies me. It's time-consuming. It's labor-intensive. Therefore, professional escorts, for whom, like therapists and mercenaries, and in happy contradiction of Lennon and McCartney, all you need is cash. Madeline, white-skinned, green-eyed, with straightened blonde hair, a short upper body, and alert, pop-kittenish breasts, is self-congratulatory, vain, materialistic, brimming with tabloid axioms and fluent in cliché. She's been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. She goes ballistic, she gets paralytic. She wants the organ grinder, not his monkey. She wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. Amos's mouldering novelties are her lingua franca. Her telephone farewell is, bye. This, more than her spiritual deficits, has kept my dislike going. But it can't last forever. A month in, I can see the confused child in there, the gaping holes and wrong bulges in the long-ago fabric of love. There was a doting and borderline dodgy dad, a fading and viciously jealous mum. This is the drag of having lived so long and seen so many. Biography shows through. All the mitigating antecedents. People teem with their own information, and I start to get the headache of interest in them. Which is pointless, since when you get right down to it, they are first and foremost food. She was waiting for me in the Zetta's deluxe rooftop studio suite, albeit with a look of having just freshened up from a quickie, moonlighted on my dollar since I'd booked her for the whole night. "Hiya," she said, raising her glass, muting the TV, summoning the feline glitter. Extreme cosmetic surgery was on. A woman was having fat from her abdomen removed and stuffed into her buttocks. "Feel that," I said, extending my frozen hand. "Shall I put that on you somewhere?" Madeline's hand, French manicured, was warm, lotioned, and even in its moist fingerprints, promissory of transactional sex. "Only if you like hospital food, babes," she said. "Do you want champagne or something from the minibar?" "Not yet. I'm going to wash the world off. You watch the rest of this. Order whatever you want."
You look delicious. You really are a treat. From your follicles right down to your feet. I've no wish for another dish. There's nothing quite as sweet. Baby, you look good enough to eat. Baby, you look good enough to eat. I've no appetite for sinners. I can't stand that type. They put me off my dinner, give me stomachache at night. I love the taste of virtue, the flavor of the right. And baby, you seem good enough to eat. Baby, you look good enough to eat. There's nothing on this planet that I would rather do than chase you through the moonlight like I've been longing to, than take you home and do you right with my red wine ragout. Baby, you look good enough to eat. Baby, you look good enough to eat. Baby, you look good enough to eat.
It had been 10 days since I'd last fucked Madeline. 10 days takes my kind to the edge. On the curse, you're desperate for sex with a she. If you're straight, that is. There are naturally gay werewolves. One resists queer wolves. While off the curse, your regular libido's amped up by the frustration of not having had sex with a she. It's a numbers problem. Infection rates for females have always been low. WOCOP estimates 1 to every 1,000 males. As you can imagine, we don't run into one another. I've never met one. In Buffy, there'd be a howler's singles bar or dating agency. Not in the real world. For the longest time, the romantic explanation for low rates of female infection endured. Possession of a womb, it was supposed, conferred a gentleness which simply could not bear the viciousness of a lycanthropic heart. Female werewolves, masculine idiocy maintained, must be killing themselves in crazy numbers. First full moon, they'd change, devour a loved one, be unable to live with the guilt, slip away somewhere quiet, and swallow a silver earring. It's quite extraordinary, given the wealth of historical evidence to the contrary, how long this fallacy of the gentler sex lasted. But the 20th century, years before Myra and the girls of Abu Ghraib put their 2 penneth in, pretty much did away with it. Now we know. If women don't catch the werewolf bug, it's certainly not because they're sugar and spice and all things nice. Whatever the reason, there have never been enough she's to go round. It's one of the universe's great sexual tragedies. It's one of the universe's great sexual farces too, because none of this souped-up concupiscence serves an evolutionary purpose. Werewolves don't reproduce sexually. Howler girls are eggless, howler boys dud of spunk. If you haven't had kids by the time you're turned, you're not having any. Get used to it. Lycanthropic reproduction is via infection. Survive the bite, and the curse is yours. But here's the thing. The old news, the stale headline. No one is surviving the bite anymore. According to WOCOP, not for at least 100 years. Mauled victims die within 12 hours. It's a mystery. I was turned in 1842, and it's possible I was the last werewolf made. WOCOP, giddy with scientific incredulity, has captured werewolves and given them victims to bat around, without successful transmission. For the last century, the species has been on a fast track to extinction, with or without WOCOP's exterminatory zeal. By the year of the Great Exhibition, we were down to fewer than 3,000. By the time Queen Victoria died, just under 2.5. And by the time of the first moon landing, we were a list of 793 names. Within WOCOP, the hunts become a joke. The guys who did their job so well, they did themselves out of a job. Yearly, their funding dwindles. A veil of melancholy has fallen. Yul Brynner's swan song, Harley had said. His late masterpiece. I turn the shower off, voluptuous from the heat and the perceptible pulse of Madeline's waiting body. This is acute desire and acute boredom in the same glass. I do what I do with the glazed despair you see in the super obese as they chomp rhythmically through their tonnage of chocolate and fried chicken. One of the things I've been hanging on for is the death of my libido. I've lost interest in everything else, so why not? But it just keeps, as it were, coming. A pre-coitus glance in the mirror showed the drearily familiar, calm, dark-eyed face. Every time I see it these days, I think, oh, Jacob, do yourself a favor and stop. Then I joined Madeline on the bed, where, at my request, she turned the TV off and lay on her back and opened her white-stockinged legs and placed her arms slave-girlishly above her head, and for some 15 minutes endured the increasingly painful realization that I wasn't going to get an erection, while simultaneously doing everything in her power to give me one. Eventually, emphatically soft, I accepted defeat. Hilarious though this sounds, I said, we've just made history. This has never happened to me before.
Hey little girl, you look so nice in that pretty red dress with the pretty black eyes.
Hello, Mr. Wolf. What a surprise to find you here so deep in the night.
My dear little girl, what's the rush? How about supper? Just the two of us.
Oh, Mr. Wolf, you want me to stay, but I fear we'll regret it someday.
have the thing you love, but the need in me is way too much. I open wide. One of us may get lost inside, me or you. One of us is going to need to die. My dear little thing, just a bite, and you will be consumed with delight.
Oh, Mr. Wolf, my hunger is real, but they say there's more to love than a meal.
Feel and uptight, what do they know? I'm all appetite, you'll help me to grow.
Oh, Mr. Wolf, I want you to, but my desire may prove your doom.
You have the thing I love, but the need in me is way too much. If I open wide, one of us may get lost inside, me or you. One of us is going to need to die. I have the thing you love.
In my dreams, a small wolf slept inside me, and it wasn't comfortable. It moved its heels and elbows and paws, struggled to make space between my lungs, stomach, bladder. Occasionally, a scrabbling claw punctured something, and I woke. What were you dreaming? Arabella wanted to know. I knew what it was dreaming. It was dreaming of being born. The form and scale of its occupancy shifted. Sometimes its legs were in my legs, its head in my head, its paws in my hands. Other times it was barely the size of a kitten, heartburn hot and fidgety under my sternum. I'd wake and for a moment feel my face changed, reach up to touch the muzzle that wasn't there. Days passed, and being awake guaranteed nothing. You hold a teacup or the rein of your horse, and there's your hand, your arm, looking just the same as always. But the mass is wrong, the reach, the grip. On the outside it's you, on the inside, not. It's not you, Arabella kept saying. It's still me, but it's not you. The simplest tasks required immense concentration. Descending a staircase, opening a door, pulling on a riding boot. I had memories not my own. Waist-deep mist dividing around me, trees rushing past, moonlight on a mountain tarn. A young girl on a forest floor with her thigh torn open, naked, white, dull body on a bed of dark green ferns, eyes wide, dead. Jacob, where are you? Arabella wanted to know. Are you seeing something? I certainly was. Once, in the small hours, when I'd thought she was asleep, with her back to me, Arabella had said, "Put your arms around me." And I had, cupped her breasts and buried my nose in the warm down of her nape, and felt another bit of her faith die, because despite my skin against hers, something kept us apart. Me. "Can't you come to me?" she said, holding tighter. "I'm still here. I'm waiting for you."